Okay, so Sylvain, tell us where we are right now. This is if we were just to come up here and not know any of the history, we would just think we were in a beautiful spot.
Indeed.
Overlooking this glorious stretch of the Atlantic. And here's this, look at these gorgeous wildflowers all around us. But where in fact are we?
There's one thing that will remind us that while something more dramatic had happened with the presence of these military positions, these trenches, these mortar pits, there were also machine guns around. We are on the strong point number 60, the easternmost strong point that the Germans had built on Omaha.
How many German soldiers would you think would have been up here?
Oh, we have a pretty accurate estimation of the number of German soldiers here. It would have been between 35 and 40. As a German soldier, if you would find yourself in a trench, you would most likely provide ammunition for the two guys that will stand inside this mortar pit. Even if the tide is fully high, imagine that when the tide is at the lowest, the water goes beyond the yellow buoys.
Yeah, so that would have all just been, what I would have seen from the German perspective is thousands and thousands and thousands of soldiers rushing up with vessels of all kinds. So Sylvain was explaining that what we see here, which is two areas where Germans would have been firing these weapons that could have reached as far as 3 miles, little torpedoes that were fired from guns. That was just one part of the defenses that the American soldiers had to neutralize as they came up from the beach.
It makes like what I would call a small fortress.
A fortress,
extremely well defended, isolated, protected from the back by barbed wire and landmines. An area that could not be really attacked by tanks because the path going from the beach to the top is very steep, can be used by infantry, by soldiers,
now,
but
not
by vehicles.
Were there American bombers who were trying to bomb these areas
and
as well at the
missed.
same? And they missed.
And they missed.
Okay.
And there was a huge number of heavy bombers being sent to bomb Omaha. 450 more or less.
So you had 450 planes taking off from England.
Flew exactly perpendicular, to Omaha.
Yep.
Flew at 17,000 feet. Couldn't see anything.
Very high up, and it's foggy. And
overcast.
It's overcast. There's clouds, so you don't even see your targets.
And bombs are dropping 1 and 2 miles inland.
Okay, so bombs, in fact, didn't hit the areas where the Germans were most dangerous. They were potentially hitting villages and French people.
Exactly,
who were,
and cows.
And cows. If you look over here, and you just see this beautiful scene, and maybe this is your farm, and now all these years later, almost 75 years later, all of these, this is just part of the landscape now, right? The remnants of these battles are all over Normandy. You might stumble into a trench or find a machine gun battery, and you're in the middle of an old fortress.